is now. We are going to start in a few seconds. Please hold. So, we are going to have a great transmission live here. And we are going to talk about all this craziness about the crash JP Morgan by Silver. So I was there when the fight took place in 2010. It was my Kaiser. So I am a bank insider. I want to talk about that. I can't talk about that for ethical reasons. But I've been in the silver market and the gold market for 10 years with lots of trial and error. So I'm going to advise to all the Wallstreetbets kids, the new kids in the block, from a veteran. I also have a book about gold manipulation in Spanish, and I interviewed Ted Butler, which is in my previous newsletter in Spanish, which was read in Spanish, all about gold manipulation. I also know the guys. My mentor is the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, Chris Battle, who is the treasurer of the GATA organization, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, and he was one of my mentors. So this is my interview to Ted Butler, who was a Morgan Stanley expert in the civil market, and this is my credentials. If you don't believe me, I want to advise the Wall Street kids, the Wallstreetbets kids, with their fight about the short squeeze, all the tricks. So we were with Max Kaiser fighting that battle, the crash JP Morgan by Silver. That was a lot of time ago. It was 10 years ago for the new kids. I want to tell you what the enemy could do if you believe that the enemy is JP Morgan. JP Morgan is the custodian of the SLB trust. And here you have a tweet from 4 years ago by Max Kaiser, who was the leading figure of the crash JP Morgan by Silver, and the Silver Liberation Army, as it was called 10 years ago. I follow gold from 2008 to now. I'm an active analyst. The problem with crashing or attacking a system is that you don't have enough ammo to fight the big guys. So they pop up the silver price and they allow it to run much more higher, and then they crash with naked short positions and kill the rally. So you are betting for a short squeeze. This is the few things. First, if you want to crash SLB, if you want to crash the naked short positions, you buy an instrument, a paper instrument, which is the custodian is your said enemy. They can create a new supply of new paper, let's say SLB paper stocks, and they could create a fictional supply of the silver market. This is what was said and discussed for years by the Gold Antitrust Action Committee newsletter. So way back, what was one of the 10 years ago, I have a record of a lot of, but I have to go to the internet archives. So what are the tricks that they could use? At that moment, the CFTC Chilton, one of the members, admitted that the silver market is subject to fraudulent influences. Said manipulation should be prosecuted, and I remember there was some auditions by the CFTC, the regulator of the commodities, and nothing happened. So what are the tricks that are going to happen now? The CFTC, which is the main regulator, they could be forced to admit that volatility is in the market and start to increase with craziness the silver margins. So they will turn the rest of the long of the market against the Wallstreetbets. So they will try, this could happen legally. they could make all the silver longs, which were not part of the Wallstreetbets short squeeze, and force all the guys who are on leverage, increasing the margin because of volatility, increase the margin and force to sell all the longs. This would be one of the first tactics, if you want to call it, to stabilize. And I using a very clear explanation that could happen in normal reactions. Maybe you could say it's conspiracy, but they will say that volatility is increasing and they will increase margins like crazy, and they will force the other longs to go down. The second trick, the most important trick that it could be used, is that you will be fighting giants. You will be fighting gold market, which is backed by central banks, big banks, cartel banks, institutional funds, and all will create an opportunity for them. So if things go out of control, they will start selling gold heavily. And when they sell gold, the rest of the market will see the weakness, and they may be forced to arbitrage and forced to create new paper selling in the silver market. That's the trick number 2. Push gold down to crash silver and counterattack the Wallstreetbet guys. That could be the second strategy in this war. First, increasing margins. 2, it will be to push down the gold market using paper supply or real supply by other members, even dumping official gold reserves for only this battle, and then bought back the gold. So they have the opportunity and the possibility of selling official gold reserve of countries and dump them in the market in the moment on the less volume. So if they push down the gold market, silver will follow. Silver tends to follow 100% of the time, 99% of the time, the gold market. So this is number 2. Increasing margins, increasing paper supply by the CFTC, by the SLB. So you have a lot of techniques that they could push the amount. One of the things is that we really don't know the amount of physical silver. We really don't know. That's one of the reasons. It's a security, it's a national secret. Nobody is telling the real amount of silver. One of the other techniques could be to increase interest rate, or that would be too much for me. I don't believe that could happen. But they could crash also crude oil and bring the whole commodity complex with the fake news, like a new lethal virus. Let's say a new COVID-21. COVID-21, it's deadly and it's here. Bang, you crash all the security pan in the market and you take down the Wallstreetbets guy. That would be a very extreme car, but it could be possible. We have negative oil prices last year with COVID-19, so maybe COVID-21 could be a car to kill a silver short squeeze. I don't believe silver short squeeze could be possible with a few retail guys. They only will do is pump up the price a bit, and even though with the news silver was nothing happened and it's the same price, even though we have a nice pump, it's not completely relevant, and it was sold. The rally at the end was a bit sold. Okay? You see in the few hours of the last Friday, it was a bit sold, the rally. So if you look for you can see that I wrote a book. It's called Aurum Argentum, about gold manipulation. It's Spynet, Aurum Argentum. And my book is here. I wrote about gold manipulation 10 years ago. This is my book about gold manipulation, mostly based on the information thanks to the Gold Antitrust Sanction Committee. So this is my book. So if you attempt to crash the silver market, you don't have to use instruments which the custodians are your enemy. And I remember when the silverliberationarmy.com website was created and the king was Kaiser, but really nothing happened, and they quickly stopped the revolution. So I believe you in the context, you can't change the silver market. You can change the fundamental trend because the real demand is not there. So these Wallstreetbets kids, maybe they can pump it up, but it will not last because there are too many tools. Now there are still some deflationary cards in the game to play. You can create the deflationary places to crash them down. And I remember this article that how the COMEX lost 20% of the registered silver in 1 week. So they talk about the run and nothing happened anyway. We are far from that. We are far from that. So silver is sending some bullish signals this year, but still not convinced of the rally. And also we have a very important subject. February, if from a seasonal point of view, is a weak month. I don't like February for gold. So maybe you are about to sell in one of the worst months for me, or you want to pump the price of silver in the worst month, which is February. I really don't like the period between February and May for gold. I believe between February and May is a weakness in the seasonal charts of gold, in the gold seasonal charts. So you should be very careful. You should be very careful. If they really want, the Wallstreetbet guys want to really crash, maybe they can start a long-term trend, but they won't be able to crash for me. And they're going to play with paper. And they know who you are, and they know how much margin you are, and when they know where your stops are, and how much money do you have to back your positions, and they can even enter your PCs, your computer, because of the Patriot Act. If you consider you are a terrorist, they could enter your PC and hack your operating system of all of you. So this is an unbalanced game. This is one of my memories of the crash JP Morgan Silver Liberation Army. If you want to change that, well, follow the long-term trends. Follow the long-term trends. Start reading again what happened 10 years ago, because you are going to repeat that. Maybe you can have a nice pump for a few days, and that's it. Pump and take profit quick profit schemes. Maybe it could happen, but I don't believe it will be possible for some kids in the world, in the nasty math, which is February, to change the precious metal markets. There are too many tools and there are too many tricks for some retail guys to change it. Who were the big guys who tried to change forever the world market? It was the Hunt brothers in the 80s. Hunt brothers, I believe it was a couple of guys. This was the Hunt brothers, and they tried to corner. This was big guys. It wasn't a few retail guys. I think one of them was killed, and the governor almost went to jail. It was the real guys. It ended bad for them. The Hunt brothers in the 80s ended badly. And one of the tricks that they could create is that they move silver from New York and send it to outside vaults and create a fictional run. So they move silver from inventories in New York and to invisible inventories, and then can create the illusion that silver is being taken from the market when it's not. It's the same guys who are pumping, and they are getting ready to attack at a higher level. So they can create a fictional run, moving inventories from visible registered silver to unregistered silver in offshore market. It is said that when JP Morgan wanted to pump up the oil market, they took the oil in the market and sent it overseas to oil tankers in the sea. So they kept oil in tankers, in ships. So it was a fictional. They would say that it was a fictional oil manipulation. So this end bad, but the real guys who really moved silver was the Hunt brothers. And what it was the trick? Well, they moved the margins heavily up and they killed them. I believe one of the politicians who was with this game, I think he was killed. So this was the real corner of the market, and it ended badly for them because they were forced to be out. And the COMEX suspends the trading silver and then severely restricted. So they start to change the rules of the market. So it wasn't very easy for them. March 26, the value of silver falls by more than 50%, and the Hunts lose 1 billion, and they were bailed out by the banks. It was the greatest attack to the silver market, and it was made in the 80s, and it ended bad. So there are a lot of tools, yes. So if you want to crash the silver market, you have to go physical and be patient. And I believe that if you want to invest buying physical, I don't know how much cash they have, but I don't believe they have the cash to crash it. I don't believe that. Or alter this complete structure of the silver complex. So be careful, guys, because there are a lot of tricks hidden that can be used, a lot of trick cards, touching margins, pushing gold down, maybe creating fake paper naked shorts, create a situation that they even close the market, or the COMEX increase the margins and force other longs against the Wallstreetbets guys. So there are a lot of tricks, and I saw too many battles to crash silver, to crash the silver shorts, and all failed. But it was the silver saga when they cornered the market. And I wish you luck with your endeavors, but be careful with all these tricks. And if you are joining the Wallstreetbets guides, maybe you should hedge your positions just in case. Good luck, kids, with your pattern.